Hampshire on top after rain delays at Headingley. Yorkshire welcomed Hampshire to Headingley with Gary Ballance in brilliant early season form, helping his side to a big win against Kent in round 3 before a fallow week last round. Hampshire were also in excellent shape as they chased Somerset hard at the top of the table, but they were looking to bounce back from the disappointment of losing the one-day cup final at the weekend. It was to be a morning of frustration at Headingley as rain delayed the start of play by an hour and a half, before returning soon after to bring about an early lunch. But between the two downpours, 6 overs were able to be bowled, with the home side moving to 26 without loss, and Harry Brook picking up a couple of boundaries off Barker. But Hampshire struck early in the afternoon session as Brook chopped a loose delivery from Edwards onto his stumps. And Lythe followed his partner soon after when he edged Barker to Weatherly at second slip. Barker struck again soon after that to put Hampshire well on top as he pitched one up and got it to straighten, and Ballance edged behind to substitute keeper Donald. Kohler Cadmore and Leaning were able to dig in for the home side, with Kohler Cadmore finding the rope off Holland. And Kohler Cadmore began to look increasingly comfortable as the session wore on, as he picked up further sweetly struck boundaries off Fuller and Edwards to move Yorkshire past 100. But the rain came again soon after to bring an early tea break as a frustrating day continued at Headingley. Leaning went on the attack either side of another rain delay soon after tea, with boundaries off Edwards and Barker, before he fell edging Fuller to first slip, with Rahane taking the catch. And Fuller was able to back up his breakthrough soon after as he clean bowled the danger man Kohler Cadmore for 45. That brought David Willey to the wicket, with his omission from England's World Cup squad working to his county's benefit as he sent Fuller crashing to the boundary from consecutive balls, as he moved to 29 at a runner ball. Before Tattersall was caught behind off Edwards for 14 as Hampshire sniffed an opportunity to wrap up the Yorkshire innings by the close. And Edwards struck twice more in his next over when Willey picked out Barker at mid-on. And then Stephen Patterson was bowled with a trademark slinging Yorker to leave Yorkshire 8 wickets down. Edwards continued to do the damage after a brief delay for bad light as he cleaned up Code first ball to complete his 5-wicket haul. And Yorkshire were soon all out for 181 when Fuller returned for a new spell and had Bess caught by Holland. That left Hampshire with a 10-over mini-session to negotiate before close of play, which they looked to have managed successfully in reaching 14 without loss from 9 overs. But Code struck with the first ball of the final over to remove Soames' LBW for a 25-ball 2 and bring about the close of play. Hampshire all out on rain-delayed day at Headingley. A rain-soaked first day at Headingley went largely the way of Hampshire, with the experienced Fidel Edwards taking a 5-wicket haul and removing the host before the close of play. Yorkshire needed a fast start on day 2 to swing the game back in their favour. The morning began with steady play from the Hampshire batsmen, with Rahane and Weatherly seemingly settled and hitting a boundary each. But within the first half hour, Yorkshire got the breakthrough they so desperately needed. Weatherly misjudging a short ball, shanking the ball high into the air and into the hands of Adam Lythe. Captain North East came to the crease and with him brought a steady presence and even steadier batting, knocking Code for 4 twice in 1 over. Rahane too added to his boundary tally, taking 4 off Patterson and Willey. The Indian batsman pumped the accelerator too hard, however, charging down the wicket towards a best ball which he missed, and Tattersall made no mistake with the gloves. A vital wicket at a vital time for Yorkshire. That brought Riley Russo to the crease with his typical desire for quick runs. He first hit a 4 off Willey, then betted himself with a maximum 3 balls later. But as quickly as he got off the mark, Russo was gone, top-edging a slog towards the leg side high over the slips, and Kohler Cadmore took a smart catch to leave Hampshire 93 for 4, and perhaps regretting their expansive brand of cricket. They reached lunch at 117 for 4, and Yorkshire were slowly changing the game into their favour. The dangerous keeper batsman Allsop started the afternoon session in fine form, hitting 2 fours off of Ben Code's after-lunch looseners. He did the same to Dwayne Olivier, but just 1 ball later the Yorkshireman took his 2nd wicket of the day, Allsop edging to Lythe, who juggled the ball before taking it cleanly. North East had been the only Hampshire batsman to successfully tread the line between attack and defence, and he duly brought up his half-century with a beautiful 4, his 8th of the day. But just moments later, the captain's innings was over, trapped LBW by Code without scoring another run. A vital wicket for the hosts, and they now had Hampshire 143 for 6. It laid in the hands of Fuller and Holland to settle the collapsing Hampshire, and they set off quickly with 4s off consecutive balls by Olivier. But the pair weren't to last, Yorkshire skipper Patterson putting himself on to bowl and trapping Holland LBW for 19 runs, with Hampshire now just 1 run shy of Yorkshire's first innings total. Barker came in swinging, matching Fuller's hard-hitting play with a 4 off Bess, and another 4 off David Willey before the left-armer had his revenge, angling the ball away from Barker, who edged to slip and walked for 14. Fuller took this as a cue to tee up and duly thumped Bess for a maximum and wicket-taker Willey for 4 more, before the heavens opened over Leeds, enforcing an early tee, with Hampshire 222 for 8 and the game in the balance. And that rain didn't relent over the break, with play only resuming for a mini-session after 6 o'clock, with Hampshire looking to extend their lead over the hosts. Their attempts didn't begin well though, when Mason Crane flapped at a Ben Code ball, only to watch the bails removed from the stumps behind him. Fuller brought up his valuable 50 with a thumping maximum, reaching the total of 73 balls. But 2 balls later, Hampshire's batting day was over, Code clean bowling a second batsman of his spell and stopping the guests' innings for 235. That meant the host came out to bat for a 3-over session at the end of the day, and they managed to make it to a greatly delayed stumps without losing an opener. Hampshire lead after 2 days and an innings for each team, but Yorkshire will look to start the 3rd day strong and gain as much ground as possible with the bat. Yorkshire dominate with bat before rain curtails play at Headingley. Hampshire earned a 54-run lead on first innings on a rain-affected 2nd day at Headingley before the Yorkshire openers survived 3 testing overs late on to reach 5 without loss. Harry Brook picked up an early boundary off Edwards, but he was on his way in the next over as Barker made the breakthrough for Hampshire when he angled one in and got it to move away with Brook guiding it to slip. And his opening partner was soon joining him in the pavilion when Barker struck again in his next over as Lythe couldn't resist a nibble, giving Weatherly more catching practice. Kola Cadmore decided attack was the best form of defence as he sent Edwards to the rope twice in an over, before following it up with another 4 in the next over off Barker to move to 13 from 12 balls. Ballance joined in with a couple of boundaries of his own as Yorkshire erased the deficit. The 4s became scarcer as the session wore on, but patient batting saw the Yorkshire pair register a 50 partnership. And Kola Cadmore was looking in excellent nick as more authoritative boundaries came at the end of the session to help him move to 45 not out, with Yorkshire leading by 39 with 8 wickets in hand. Ballance and Kola Cadmore came out with intent after the lunch break, with both batsmen helping themselves to regular 4s as Kola Cadmore moved past 50. Ballance looked to follow his partner's lead as he sent Fuller to the rope from consecutive deliveries to bring up the 100th partnership, before repeating the trick in Fuller's next over and edging Holland to the boundary for his 10th 4 to move to 50. But Hampshire made the breakthrough they were desperate for when Kola Cadmore was trapped on his crease and hit on the knee roll by Holland to fall for 69. Hampshire would have hoped that dismissal would shift the momentum, but Leaning settled quickly, dispatching Crane to the mid-wicket fence 3 times in quick succession. But the rain came soon after to bring about an early tea break, with Yorkshire 153 ahead and Gary Ballance well placed on 83 not out. And unfortunately no more play was possible after tea as the rain continued for the rest of the day. Yorkshire and Hampshire trade blows at Headingley in hard-fought draw. Yorkshire dominated day 3 with the bat at Headingley, but their efforts to put themselves in a position to win the game were frustrated by the weather as rain ended play before tea. Ballance began day 4 83 not out, with Yorkshire 153 ahead, and they'd looked to build that lead and then timed their decision to declare correctly. Play eventually got going at about 11:45 and Leaning picked up the first boundary of the day in the first over off Barker, before Ballance found the rope in successive overs to move to 98. And in the next over, Ballance knocked a 2 into the covers to bring up another terrific century as he continued his prolific form. But unfortunately, moments later, the rain came again to bring an early lunch, with Yorkshire 185 runs ahead, but overs running out to force a result. Yorkshire hadn't yet added to their total post-lunch when Ballance was on his way, Mason Crane trapping him LBW. Leaning and Tattersall fought back though, as they combined to hit 19 off Crane's next over. But Leaning was soon gone as the game moved on at pace, as Barker sent his middle stump cartwheeling. David Willey settled with a couple of early boundaries off Edwards before Tattersall helped himself to two more off the same bowler's next over as Yorkshire motored past 300. The batsmen hit the accelerator as they looked for a declaration, and when Tattersall sent Barker to the rope from successive deliveries to bring up his 50, they decided enough was enough, bringing the innings to a close on 332 for 5. And Yorkshire were in amongst them early when Olivier removed Soames in the second over of the chase, caught and bowled for a duck. And Hampshire were suddenly in real trouble in the very next over when Code nipped one between bat and pad to send the bails flying, and Rahane was on his way for a duck. But with the final ball of the session, North East clipped Code off his toes only to pick out Willie at mid-wicket and leave Hampshire 35 for 3, and Yorkshire fancying their chances going into the final session of the game. Weatherly and Russo settled in comfortably after tea, taking a liking to Willie's bowling in particular, as they shared 5 boundaries off just 2 of his overs. And Patterson came in for similar treatment, as Weatherly helped himself to consecutive boundaries. Weatherly brought up his 50 with a 4 off Bess, before Russo clobbered 3 more off Olivier to take Hampshire beyond 100. But Bess removed Weatherly to give Yorkshire a scrap of hope as he chipped the ball to Willie at mid-wicket. And soon after, Bess was added again as he hit a foothold perfectly to Castle Holland. But it was too little too late for Yorkshire, as 2 overs later the captains shook hands on a hard-fought draw, meaning Hampshire take 9 points from the contest and Yorkshire 8.